Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of your Mystro Weekly Industry Roundup. I am Randy Shear, also known as Uberman from YouTube, here in collaboration with Mystro to bring you the latest news and information in the rideshare industry for the week. Today is Sunday. It is December the 16th, 2018. And number one on my list is Uber hit with antitrust suit 3 years after former competitor Sidecar went bust. This is from the San Francisco Chronicle. So the article states that Uber used illegal practices to stifle competition and obtain a monopoly that drove a smaller rival out of business. A company affiliated with the now defunct ride-hailing pioneer Sidecar alleges in a federal antitrust lawsuit filed Tuesday. Uber said ride-sharing is a highly competitive industry with many players coming and going over the years. Like Sidecar, not all have survived. Sidecar's lawsuit has it backwards. New competitors, along with low prices, benefit consumers and reflect the exact type of competition that the antitrust laws are meant to protect. Now, I'm not going to bore you with the rest of the details of this article, but basically, this is controversial even for me. Sidecar obviously went out of business in 2015, if I remember correctly, and why did they wait 3 years? And better than that, why did they wait until Uber filed for their IPO? The suit filed in U.S. District Court in San Francisco comes as Uber prepares to make its Wall Street debut. The suit enumerates Uber's alleged misdeeds while portraying Sidecar as Uber's primary U.S. competitor, barely alluding to the role of Lyft, a ride-hailing company that is still going strong. The legal action targets only Uber. So that is a good point. There's a lot of things that just bother me about this whole suit. It almost seems like, now I understand going out of business, it sucks. You know, it really does, especially when you put your heart and soul and everything you have into building a business and somebody else comes along and just squashes you. But here's the thing. Uber and Lyft are the major players in the rideshare game. Sidecar, unfortunately, didn't make it. Now, I am not here to judge whether Uber did or did not violate any antitrust laws. You know, we're going to have to see how that plays out in court, but it just seems strange to me that if this was an issue in 2015, why did they wait 3 years? And why did they wait until Uber filed their paperwork for an IPO? Now, the CEO says that was just a coincidence. I'm not one that believes in coincidences. I think this was planned. I think this was strategic. And if Uber is being thrown under the bus for violating antitrust laws, how come we don't see Lyft anywhere in here? I don't know. You judge for yourself. We'll see how this one plays out. Moving on. Number 2 on my list is from TechCrunch. Rideshare advertising startup Firefly launches with $21.5 million in funding. Now, this is one that I'm really excited about and I'm really interested in. Firefly, a startup that allows rideshare drivers to make money through digital advertising, is officially launching today. It also announced that it has raised $21.5 million in seed funding. The idea of sticking advertising on a cab isn't new, but Firefly offers drivers what it calls a digital smart screen, allowing advertisers to run targeted geofenced campaigns. That's what's exciting to me. If you don't know what a geofence is, basically take a city and then just circle a particular portion of that city. And that would be a geofence, like maybe Midtown Manhattan. You could put a geofence there. That way, when you've got drivers in that general area, the billboard on top of the car, the smart screen, will be advertising for businesses in that specific area. So as drivers move in and out of different parts of different cities, these geofences will be advertising as you cross from one to another. You will then switch targeted ad campaigns to businesses that are in the market you are now driving in locally around. So people will see these signs on top of your car and possibly go visit these businesses. It's genius. And the driver makes money off it. So I love it. The problem with it, and I'm going to stop the article there because this one is just, this does violate Uber's terms of service. You are not allowed to advertise for any other businesses while you're doing Uber. So I'm not sure how they're going to work this out. I'm not sure if they're going to work with Uber and Uber's going to work with them to make this happen. You know, I don't know how this is going to play out, but I do know that this violates Uber's terms of service, and drivers that do this could be terminated from the platform. So very interested to see how they plan on making this work without getting drivers in trouble. Third and last on my list is an article from Forbes, and it says California cannabis company Caliva is poaching Uber drivers and executives. It is that polarizing time of year again, the holiday season. While the privileged 1% are receiving holiday bonuses, many more Americans face the grim realities of being downsized. Still others are still missing out on spending the holiday season with their families as they work in the service industries, hustling hard to earn extra income to carry them into the new year. Sensitive to these troubling circumstances, California Bay Area cannabis company Caliva recently gave early Christmas presents to some hardworking people in the car service industry in the form of new full-time jobs with decent benefits. All right, so far so good, right? Car service drivers employed by Uber and Lyft in particular are stretched during the holiday season. Ferrying tourists and those who are homeward bound sometimes means that they are behind the wheel for over 14 hours a day. Uber drivers' complaints of long hours, low pay, and hard work have been in the news repeatedly. State regulations require cannabis companies in California to hire drivers as either part-time or full-time employees, which give these gig economy workers more stable income. They cannot be employed as 1099 contract workers. Caliva recently recruited approximately 200 workers in the gig economy via Uber and DoorDash and hired them as full-time employees, complete with 401k plans and healthcare benefits. The new hires were implemented to fulfill thousands of on-demand Caliva and Easy delivery orders. Okay, now, see, I'm in Oklahoma. In Oklahoma, we're not quite as progressive. In fact, I think a lot of people consider our state a very conservative state. In places like California, I guess marijuana is mainstream. It's not taboo anymore. But out here, it's still one of those things where you say marijuana, it's not really a good thing out here. So it's kind of difficult for me to gauge how people feel about this in more progressive states. But my personal opinion is, hey, if it's legal, blooper, if it's legal and people want to do this, that's great, man. That's great. So that's going to be it for the video. I appreciate you all taking the time to watch. Mystro, appreciate you being here. Thanks again. We look forward to seeing you next week in another edition of the Mystro Weekly Industry Roundup.